those things.
Inside Foos presents FoosTalk Live.
I had an anxiety attack. It's going to be my last show.
I'm going to click start, and then you guys are good to go.
I love this show.
So, of course, our rugged individualist and electronic Swiss Army knife comes to us from Dallas, Texas. None other than Clay Toomey. Hello, Clay.
I like that intro. Feel free to use that one again.
Wow, that was special.
I like it.
Yeah. It's almost better than the one where he introduces me as one of the best foosball commentators of all time.
It's FoosTalk Live.
You talking to me?
Compelling and lively banter.
Are you going to talk to us?
Talking foosball.
Foosball was how I measured my value as a man. You took that away.
Players and fans, promoters and pros. Unedited and raw.
Talk.
Living in the moment.
We have a lot of important things to talk about.
All while practicing social distancing.
Cool. We'll talk. No big whoop.
Let's get this thing started. FoosTalk Live.
Coming to you live from the studios of Inside Foos, it's the 55th episode of FoosTalk Live, brought to you in part by InsideFoos.com, offering monthly subscriptions with access to some of the most exciting matches ever recorded, and lots more to come, including live tournaments, pre- and post-show analysis, interviews, and original programming. Also brought to you by 518 Prints, one of the best printers of promotional items, t-shirts, jackets, hoodies, and foosball apparel. Visit 518prints.com today. Also being brought to you by Foosballers the Movie. Download your copy of this Joe Heslinger documentary at foosballersthemovie.com. FoosTalk Live also brought to you by Foosball Clubs USA, promoting foosball through school systems all over the country. Visit foosballclubsusa.com and make a donation today. And brought to you by USTSO, helping to usher in a new era of competitive foosball. Become a member and register at usafoosball.com. Well, hey there, it's Tom Robinson once again. It is the 55th episode of FoosTalk Live, and we're glad you could make it. We had quite a weekend last weekend with the intrepid, shall we say, remote travelers or broadcasters from FoosTalk Live at, of course, Portland, Oregon with the Moneyball tournament. And, of course, this evening, they're back in the saddle. And, of course, conversation is always better when it's done with another person. And why not with the most, shall we say, how do I say this properly, Jim? The best play-by-play foosball announcer of all time, Jim Stevens.
You're far too kind, and maybe you're somewhat accurate. But there hasn't been a lot of competition. 55 episodes. We can try 55. That is quite an accomplishment. Yes, and Mark and I were missing in action last week, except for a few minutes we were able to join you despite our technical difficulties.
Yep.
But still recovering a little bit from getting back out there and doing an actual tournament last week up in Portland. But it was a lot of fun, and Mark and I will talk more about that, I'm sure, as we move forward.
Love to hear about it. And, of course, now we have to refer to him as the masked man, roving reporter, Mark Torres.
Yeah, I prefer debonair, wandering, ethnic beauty.
Well,
much better.
Can we fit that on a business card?
When you're wearing a mask, though, we're pretty much all the same race, I think, when you're wearing a mask, a ninja mask like Mark had on last week.
It was very debonair.
All men are not created equal, even with masks on. Hey, thank you for once again joining my show, everybody. I want to introduce Tom Robinson.
Thank you.
No, it was a great time. It was great to be playing foosball and watching, and the entertainment and the Masters were so generous for the time. It was a good time.
Right. Yeah, no, those that look like you guys are having a blast. I watched a few of the play-by-play matches there, and you guys were back at it again. And it seemed like it hadn't been 15 years, Mark, since you sat in the booth.
Well, the irony, if that's the right word, I have never worked an entire tournament with Jim.
Oh,
the most I'd done is maybe 2 or 3 matches per day, but I was always kind of competing. Or when I stopped competing, I would come and do one day or like 3 or 4 matches and be gone. But this was the first time I ever worked a full weekend with Jim, and
wow.
it was so fun. And one big thing for me is this: we embraced that we were going to have these highs and lows because we spent 16 hours a day together.
Mm-hmm.
We embraced we're going to have highs and lows. Energy levels going to go up and down. There were going to be need for food, and we just decided that wherever our relationship went, that's where. So we decided to be curmudgeonly and bitter with each other. Fine, this is where we are, man.
I love
hate each
it.
other.
I love
Do
it.
this.
Yeah, and at times
Yeah.
we were giddy and happy, and we just embraced that as well. But no, it was interesting. You know, those previous times that Mark worked with me, he was great in the afternoon. Then about dinner time, things changed. But it was really good to get out there, and we've had a lot of great feedback on our performance. I guess we could call it last week up there in Portland. It's just a lot of fun. And you mentioned that Mark has not worked a tournament with me. He's done a little bit over the last 5 or 6 years as my color man.
Okay.
But the fact that we've been doing this radio show now for 55 episodes, most of which we were all together,
right?
I kind of prepared us for this, the dynamic, the interaction, the
Mhm.
timing of it. I know when he's going to stop talking. He knows when I'm going to stop talking, if I ever do. And so I think it really helped a lot for us to kind of practice here on FoosTalk Live in order to get back out there and do live commentary of big matches.
Well,
So it was a lot of fun.
I have to ask the question: how does it feel to actually be in the same room? Because I mean, right now when we host the show, you're in Colorado, and Mark's in Chicago, and Clay's in Texas, and I'm in New York State. I mean, how does it feel to be in the same room?
He smells a lot different than I remembered.
I knew that was coming into play. I knew it. I just had to open the door.
No, it was great. It was great. First time I saw him, I gave him a big bear hug. It was great to see him. You know, we're great friends, and it was weird to see somebody in person that you really spent a lot of time with for the last year and a half, but only through Zoom or through FoosTalk Live or whatever. So no, it was bizarre, but it was cool. Really cool.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Well, guys, I'm looking forward to the next opportunity, which we should all be together in Texas, where we're all going to be in the same room. And man, you just never know what could happen. You just never know.
No, that's for sure.
I don't know if you guys tuned in after, if maybe you downloaded the episode from last week after you guys hung up and went to the bar. Clay and I had a nice discussion. In fact, we had a lot to say about the grudge match that's going to take place at Texas State's between the four of us.
I listened to the whole thing.
You did.
And so I don't know how to convey this. I'm excited to play you guys. That's a lie. I will play you guys. I'll play you guys.
That's a lie.
I'll play you guys. I have a hard time getting adrenaline up for matches. So
whoa.
I play. Let me
they
give you an
make
example.
something for that, by the way.
I played with Billy Pappas in 2017. We played a pit match versus Tony Spredeman and Robert Mars. I almost fell asleep, and it was even worse. For third place, we played against my good friend Fernando and Lewis Cartwright. And I was you watch the video, I'm the most bored person in the match. So no disrespect, but you and Clay are going to have a hard time with me paying attention, and I'll beat you anyway.
I see.
So I hope Clay's listening.
So you're not going to give us your best game then? Is that what you're trying to say?
That would be a cowardly thing to say.
Yeah, it's not going to matter. It's not going to
I'm incapable of giving you my best game.
Well, I have no problem getting up for it. I'll carry him.
All right.
It's not
That's
a problem.
cool.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Well, here's the thing. We also have to come up with a prize because, glory is one thing and bragging rights is another, but it just doesn't quite cut it. We have to have something that's significant enough for us to all enjoy and something we can kind of rub in each other's face from time to time. The winners, of course, Clay and I would like to do something that, we'll have to work on that. We contemplated maybe, the winners will receive a compliment whenever they ask for it. Something like
that's
that.
That's going to be tough. That's going to be hard.
Fine. I would rather do
a sincere
compliment. You got to do 10 shots on command.
Oh,
of whatever alcohol So if I say you got to do a shot of tequila, do it right now. Boom.
Well, I have a preference, and if it's going to be alcoholic, it's going to have to be an IPA.
Hey guys, let's move on.
IPA is to reveal our favorite IPA.
By the way, Tom, just a technical note. I'm used to hearing this stuff, but I'm not hearing it right now. The intro, I didn't hear it, and I can't hear the beer thing either.
Really?
So I'm not sure. I can't. I'm not sure if there's
not hearing any of that, huh? Well, it's running, so you'll just have to go with my.
Sure.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Anyway, so it's time to sample an IPA. Jim, what do you think? What do you got?
Yeah, I'd love to. You know me. I love IPAs, and if you know me well, I love the Melvin Brewing Company of Alpine, Wyoming. And they're always coming out with new things, right? They have their standards, but they also have their ones that they call that they release every once in a while, right? It just kind of a batch that they release. This one, I've had it before. I may have even brought it on the show before, but it's called the Cloudy 5000. It's a hazy IPA. It's 8.2% alcohol. It's 60s on the IBU. It's additions of flaked oats and wheat create a pillowy mouthfeel and massive amounts of mosaic and citra hops. Mosaic hops.
Nice.
Provide a juice ripe of mango, passion fruit, papaya, and pineapple flavors.
No kidding.
Hell, I love it.
That's awesome. Well, there goes in a snifter the sample.
Man,
Tasty?
that's good.
Tasty.
Yeah, this is a top 5 beer for me.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, that's saying something right there since we had 55 in the last year. Okay. How about this? Broken Symmetry. Made by Nimbus. I'm sorry, it's the other way around. It's a Broken Symmetry Brewery. It's made by an IPA called Nimbus Double IPA. And let's see here. With a wide range of styles to provide an ever-changing variety for a customer's enjoyment. Okay. Let's give it a shot. See what it sounds like.
That should be drank out of a snifter.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Nimbus is the name of the room.
Nimbus, yeah.
Harry Potter.
The Nimbus 2000.
That's Nimbus,
correct.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the nerdier beers.
That's
very
that's
nerdy.
fruity.
Tom's going to be flying around the studio on a broom here shortly,
Nimbus.
no doubt about it. It's a double IPA.
Woo.
I'm thinking it's about 9%.
It's a good thing
Good luck,
you can't
Tom.
hear. It's a good thing you can't hear what I'm doing. Okay, awesome.
It's Quidditch time.
Yeah.
Quidditch time.
So we have to toast our honor group of the week, of course. So guys, and now Mark, of course, what are you drinking this week?
But listen, I only drink at foosball tournaments or karaoke bars or certain weekends in the month with friends or certain Wednesdays. But however, water today, you guys.
Water.
So let's toast somebody. Yeah.
All right.
Let's toast
So
somebody.
here's what we're toasting. Yeah. We're toasting an amazing group out of Hamburg, Germany called Kixx. Here's to Kixx. Yeah. Kixx is is quite a group. They have 16 tables in their location in Hamburg and do corporate parties. They'll get hundreds of people in that, hundreds of players in that place.
It'd be great to talk to the owner of that place, wouldn't it?
You know, that would be a kind of a cool idea because they have a hot scene going.
They really do.
I think we might be able to do that tonight. You just never know.
Let me tell you what, man. There's some landmarks in Germany, like the Brandenburg Gate and the Black Forest.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all I really know. So I'm sure there's more. But let me tell you what I want to see. If I'm going to Germany, the first place I want to go is a Kixx bar. I want to go to Kixx bar before I go to the Brandenburg Gate, before I go to the Black Forest, and before I go to wherever else they make hot dogs. I want to go to Kixx bar, play foosball, and get belligerent.
Yes, and be American.
Yeah.
The ugly American. Here's to Kixx.
Here's to the ugly American. Yeah, I know. Tonight, Rikko Tuitjer, the owner of Kixx, is going to join us here in just a little while. Looking forward to talk to him about that, about the World Cup in 2017, and some other things as well that are upcoming there in Germany and around the world. So looking forward to talking to Rikko, and we'll have him with us in just a little while.
And by the way, the time that I visited Germany and my sister who lives there, for 10 days we ate the best food and drank the best beer. I mean, just astounding, and it's worth the price of admission for sure. No
and the other thing about Hamburg too, if you're a big Beatles fan, right?
Oh, right.
The Beatles spent a lot of time in Hamburg in their early years, and really formed as a band, and really became the great band they were. I think in a good part because of the time they spent in Hamburg. And I've had great times there. Of course, 2006 World Cup, 2017 World Cup as well. So looking forward to talking to Rikko more about that as well.
Right. Looking forward to it, to say the least. So we're also looking forward to Texas State Championships, which is coming up very soon. Memorial Day weekend. Beginning May 28th, I believe, through was it June 1st? Something like that.
Sounds right.
Yep. So it's going to be an astounding weekend. Of course, we're going to be there, and it's the 30th anniversary of Texas State Championships. We are so psyched about this. And of course, if you haven't made your reservations now, you better get busy because everybody's going to be there, and we don't want to lose out on your opportunities here.
The Texas State Championships, they call it a state championships, but really it is a major championship event. And it's held in a beautiful Sheraton hotel with a huge ballroom, usually 300 plus players in attendance. A great playing environment. Of course, Steve Murray, the Hall of Famer, in charge of really putting on this sensational show each and every year, except for last year. But 30 of them, 30th version of this event, and looking forward to it. I think my first one was something like maybe the fifth one. I think it's when I first started going over there.
Wow.
But looking forward to that. And before we move on, all you mothers out there here in the United States, it is Mother's Day today.
Sorry.
So we all spent time with our wives and our mothers. And if you haven't had a chance yet, over at InsideFoos.com, I released it here a couple hours ago. I did an interview this past Thursday, with the first mom of American table soccer, Keisha Rue.
Yes.
And of course, Keisha and her husband Terry and her daughter Sullivan, all world champions, all World Cup gold medalists as well. So had a lot of fun spending time with her. And if you'd love to see just a lovely woman, a great foosball player, and a really good interview, head over to InsideFoos.com.
Thank you for that. And here's to moms everywhere.
Here's to moms.
Moms.
Where would we be? Where would we be without our moms?
Non-existence? I don't know. That's the existential answer. But no. Great. Very cool. Happy Mother's Day. Oh, so, since we're talking about Germany and some great moments there, let's go into now, of course, since you guys, for some reason, technically can't hear this, I'll let you know when it ends. Sounds good? But here's FoosTalk Live's Flashback.
With great moments in foosball history, this is a FoosTalk Live
Flashback.
Correa along the wall will pick up off that back wall and have an opportunity to tie it, and he does as he hammers it home far side. Thomas Haas had a possession on the 3-rod. Correa blocked it, sent it the other way, and now we are even at 4 here in game number 4. Haas rushes it through. Another chance here for Thomas. See if he uses a timeout. Perhaps not a believer in the timeout as Haas shoots for the championship. Thomas Haas finds the hole down the middle. Thomas Haas of Germany has defeated Yannick Correa to win the 2017 World Men's Singles Championship. And what a day for German table soccer.
Listen in next time for another great moment in foosball history. It's FoosTalk Live
Flashback.
And the flashback this week featuring Thomas Haas in 2017, winning at the Worlds in open singles. Wow, terrific stuff. Jim, what do you remember about that moment?
What a day for German table soccer indeed. Obviously, Thomas Haas defeated Yannick Correa, and Correa was the big favorite in that match. In fact, everybody that Haas played his last 3 or 4 matches, he was not the favorite. But he ended up just playing perfect foosball and won the whole thing. Wow. Earlier that day, I believe the doubles came first, but Marvin Velasco and Jörg Harms of Germany also kind of in a surprise result won the doubles title at that multi-table event in Hamburg in 2017. And I have such great memories. I literally came back from that event, went directly to another tournament in Maryland. But I came back, and all of us who were there came back kind of buzzing because it was such an incredible event. It was put on. We were in this gigantic theater with great lighting, great sound. We put on a great show. It was one of the greatest events I've ever been to, unquestionably. And I know that our guest tonight, Rikko Tuitjer, was also part of that as well, and we'll talk to him more about that. But one of the great upsets of recent years was Thomas Haas winning that singles championship in Germany.
Yes. Now, how old was he at the time?
I believe he was 20. I did an interview with him a couple of months ago, and I believe he was 20 years old. He was the world champion, and it was remarkable. Remarkable how focused he was each and every match. Again, some of the biggest names in the world of table soccer, but he was very focused, really played his game, very few mistakes, and just a sensational overall performance.
What was his biggest win up to before that point?
I believe he also had a win over Tony Spredeman as well, coming into it. And so, but the win against Yannick Correa, who had already won, I believe Yannick has 2 or 3 multi-table world championships, one of the great multi-table players in the world. But Haas was the better player in that match on that day.
Yeah, that's terrific stuff. Great. International foosball.
Having had time to speak to Thomas multiple times, what I love, and so there's some generalizations we make about Germans, engineering, precision, accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you what, having spent time with Thomas on the phone and his approach to the game, his practice mentality, the way he does things, the discipline and the engagement. When he decides to do things, like when I'm very tired and when I'm very, very fatigued, that's why I go and I get on the table. I get on the table and I do regiments and I practice with determination. He has an organized method that gets him past great players. I have a strong appreciation.
Mark, we're losing your audio there briefly. Are you close enough to your microphone?
That may be. I don't know. Is it me, Jim? Are you losing my audio too? The audio is getting a little fuzzy right now. Are you losing my audio?
Yeah, but it's only when I'm getting Tom's audio is the problem. Sorry, folks, we're a little behind the scenes here, but whenever, Tom, you're on, that's why we're getting that clicking sound as well. That your audio always seems to be on. And so.
Gotcha. Did that change it?
Maybe. The clicking sound is still there.
Still there?
Well, it's a good thing we're not live.
Yeah.
It's a good thing this is not live radio. We can edit all this out, right?
Yeah, right.
We got a great guest here, and he gets behind the scenes look of what happens with a little bit of technical.
Right. Now you're back. Mark.
So let me mute yourself for a second, Tom.
Sure. Let's see how that works. And let's see here. Oh, there we go. I'm going to be muted. I will mute. And there. How's that?
I think that fixed it.
That's right. Now it's all fixed.
Yeah, what you were saying, Mark? Every time you've talked with Thomas Haas and all your generalities about Germans, which
I better finish that thought before it just sounds like prejudice. I was saying that Thomas has a very disciplined, organized, precise way of practice. He approaches the game like a true professional. He does it. He has formative ideas, and he has a practice regimen and a schedule, and he executes it, and he makes a point of doing it when he's fatigued and tired and doesn't feel like practicing. So that kind of attention to detail is how he gets past players that may have much more practice than him and much more experience. And we've seen him here in the United States wipe the floor with American guys. And I don't want to put names out because I don't want to embarrass anybody. But he comes out and he does very, very well. And it's because he has a professional approach to the game. So I was just mentioning that we generalize about Germans and their precision and engineering and attention to detail. And Thomas at least exhibits that for foosball.
Yeah, that's a great point. And if you do want to see the interview we did with him, you can see it at InsideFoos.com. But he came over and won the Tornado Pro Singles World Championship, Pro Doubles as well, finished fourth in Open Doubles in Las Vegas. And really a lot of it is because of his work ethic, because of his training regimen that he uses, and a lot of what you said. So I guess we're going to generalize about Germans. He kind of fits.
Show me a lazy German. Show me when I haven't met one yet. Hopefully our guests can tell us, hey, look, here's one right here.
I think that's probably something you can straighten us out on. I don't have any question about that.
Let's see if we can do a top five, Tom.
Yeah, you want to do a top five? That sounds good. Let's move on to the top five. And again, you guys are not going to be able to hear this, but here comes the top five. Inside Foos is yes, and that's another great snafu. There we go. Here comes the top five for this week. Time once again for the FoosTalk Live Top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here's Jim Stevens and Mark Torres. And that's your cue, guys.
Thank you. Mark and I have had some difficulty, and Tom as well, coming up with top fives. It has not been easy. We've done 55 of these shows now, and probably at least 45 of them we had top fives in. So trying to come up with top fives, fresh ones, fresh ideas, new ideas has been difficult. So, I was sitting around the other day, and I thought, let's see, who's on this show? There's Tom Robinson, and there's Mark Torres, and there's Jim Stevens, and there's Clay Toomey. Hey, how about the top five Toms of all time? Toms or Tommies? And we can do the Jims, top five Jims of all time in foosball, the top five Marks of all time in foosball. And so I threw it out there kind of as a half joke, but really we didn't come up with anything better. So tonight we are going to have Mark and I are going to have our top five players named Tom or Tommy in the history of foosball. And we're going to, obviously we're going to forget a few names, but I think we've got it covered pretty well. And I've actually got a decent list of Toms or Tommies. I don't know about you, Mark.
I got 7, and 2 of them are because I needed backups.
And I know I'm not even going to make an honorable mention, but that's okay. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, you're making an honorable mention.
Oh, all right. All right. Are you guys ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
all right.
Sprint.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number.
You're on, Mark.
All right. Number 5, Tommy York Jr.
Mhm.
Why not? He's a world champion. He's a phenom. He's going to be, as long as he continues to play, foosball, at least in the United States, is not something you can do professionally. Really, you can't really make a ton of money. And Tommy York is a great student. He's an incredible academic. He's going to school right now, and that could be a limiting thing. And you got to make choices. But if he decides that he wants to continue playing foosball at the pace and trajectory he's playing, and we during the Portland Moneyball tournament, we got into this discussion about who can usurp Tony in open singles. And there really is only one person, and it's Tommy York at this point. Now, there may be others, and we're not talking about the European scene. We're talking about Americans. But Tommy York is double-dipped Tony. He's the only guy I know that's beat Tony in a singles final in a long time. Jim would know the answer and how long he's done it. So number 5 for now, but he could be number 4 next year and number 3 the year after. So let's put Tommy York Jr. at number 5.
Yeah, now Tommy York, an incredibly talented player, a guy that because of his multi-tabled experience, he has traveled overseas with the United States team on several occasions to compete at the junior level. In my opinion, this is a guy who could become the best player in the world. Interesting stat, Tony Spredeman has never won a multi-table singles world championship. A guy we look at as maybe the greatest singles player we've ever seen, has never won that title. I do not have Tommy York on my list. He's just too young. Is why. As great as he is, and as great as I believe he is going to be, I left him off, and who knows? He's one of the top 5, but I'm leaving him off because I'm going to put Thomas Haas at number 5, who probably is maybe only a few months older and maybe a few months younger than Tommy York. Thomas Haas is 24, and I think maybe Tommy York might be about 22. So, but Haas, I mean, again, we've talked about it, the greatness of that performance, how great he has been when he has come over to the United States to play, a consistent player, a great goalie, a man who takes the craft very seriously, a guy that is not done, is going to do quite a bit more in this sport. Oftentimes that may come as a goalie. But oftentimes, as I said before, great goalies make good singles players. And so for me, Thomas, that's Tom, that's Tommy. The name is right, and the game is right as well. He's my number 5, Thomas Haas of Germany.
FoosTalk Live Top 5.
Mark?
Number.
Yeah, my number 4 is Thomas Haas. I just could. I struggled with where to rotate him, but I couldn't change my top 3. And so Jim said it all. I think he's a super talent. I think when we start talking about who will be the best representation from each country in the coming decade, he's going to be one of the pillars of German foosball. He's going to school now too, and so these things could change rapidly. But as long as he continues to play a little bit of foosball and practice with some regularity and show up to tournaments, he's going to be an animal to deal with for the years to come. So I have Thomas Haas at number 4.
Yeah, and again, it's his practice, it's his focus, it's his work ethic, that really make him such a great player. My number 4 is probably a guy, Mark, and Tom, that you guys have never heard of. My number 4 is a man out of Belgium named Tom van der Kotter. This guy, oftentimes his own worst enemy in a variety of ways that we're not necessarily going to get into, but an incredibly talented player, a world champion, an ITSF world champion, a member of the Belgian gold medal winning team back in 2012. I mean, the second best player that probably has ever come out of Belgium. Number 1, I think we know who it is. But I think Tom van der Kotter is probably the second best to ever come out of Belgium. And that's saying something. And one of the great European players, and a guy that maybe is an underachiever, a guy that maybe could have done more. But when you see him play, he has played here in the United States, I think one time on Tornado, played well, did well, despite the fact that he is a pin shooter. He plays a European style game, but he plays that European style game on a level that few ever have. And we're talking Frederick Collignon, we're talking Jamal Alalou, and just a handful of other players who have played on the level that Tom Vanderkater has. And it's a guy that we forget about, and a guy that we could be talking about as one of the great European players, one of the great international multi-table players ever, but has not always made the best decisions off the table. And but when we've seen him, we are amazed by him, the hand speed, the ball handling ability, the ability to score in clutch situations. This is a great, great player, and a guy that neither of you have heard of. I'm sure our guest tonight, Rikko, has heard of him and seen him play. But my number 4 out of Belgium is Tom Vanderkater.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 3.
Mark?
Yeah, my number 3 is Tom Your Sr. I've been talking about that guy a lot the last few weeks. It's fitting for him to be number 3. He is a great representation of American foosball. He's been a lead in helping support the creation of the rules book. We know what he is as an official and a world champion and a Hall of Famer recently inducted. So I think he has a fitting spot. Tom Your Sr. at number 3.
Yeah, I think our final 3 are probably going to be identical coming down here. But Tom Your, you mentioned he's a great representative of America, a great ambassador to the American sport. But he's also a great representative of the worldwide table soccer scene. This is a guy who early on embraced the idea of traveling internationally, of bringing all the countries together like the ITSF has done. He was an early believer in the ITSF and has worked closely with Farid Lunas and the other members of the ITSF to make sure that there was one set of rules for the entire world. And we've talked about this, how difficult it was taking a little of a Bonzini and a little of the German style and a little of Eastern Europe and a little of the Netherlands and kind of bringing them all into one rule, one basic set of rules. Incredibly difficult to do. And we've had Tom on and we've talked to him about it. But what a great ambassador for the sport this guy is. I mean, he's a class act on and off the table. He's been involved in some of the biggest international matches at the World Cup ever. He's been a member of every single United States World Cup winning gold medal team. That's 6 of them. He's played on all 10 of them, won 6 gold medals. Also an ITSF doubles world champion back in 2011 with Brandon Moreland. But a guy, great friend of mine, great friend of the show, great friend of the sport, and a guy that very soon will also be inducted into the International Hall of Fame, I'm quite certain. But for me as well, number 3. The number 3 Tom is Tom Your Sr.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 2.
Mark, you're on.
Yeah, we're scraping the barrel, but it's a good one. When you start talking about the top 5 people with a certain name, but it's a great one. So I when I think about the number 2, there are like hallmark players that do things. There are hallmark competitors. And I think of Mike Tyson winning the heavyweight world championship when he was 18. And you could apply this to foosball, and you could look at Johnny Horton and then Todd Lafredo winning as teenagers. And you could take a look at Tony Spredeman. You can take a look at people that do so much damage in their youth and then continue to be great competitors. And so, of course, Tommy Atkinson is my number 2. Tommy Atkinson, who, 93, as 18 years old, doubles at the World Championship, and then just a few years later wins singles again, doubles again, and racks up the championship wins. And then he has his reprieve from the sport, which we won't get into. But and still, we get to spend time with him this last weekend at the Moneyball tournament. And when he turns it on and the fire's there, you can see where the talent in the hand speed and the defensive prowess is really, really fun to watch. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason, and he's a hallmark foosball competitor. This is it's a tribute to him. And number 2 is number 1 is he cannot be denied. And that's the only reason why he's not number 1. So Tommy Atkinson at number 2.
Yeah, agreed. I think number 1's a given on both of our parts. But no, and as you said, we got a chance to spend some time with Tommy last weekend, and he loved the guy. He's a teddy bear off the table. When he's on the table, when he's at his best, he is in your face. He's aggressive. He is being really non-insulting in the way he does it. But this is a guy, like Mark said, that came on early, came on really early, and was really one of the great players of the 1990s on the Tornado Tour. The one thing I always remember, though, 2006, St. Vincent, Italy. 2007, St. Vincent, Italy, one of the early world championships, the ITSF multi-table world championships. For the first time ever, he travels internationally. Hasn't traveled since either. This is the one and only time we've gotten to see Tommy Atkinson overseas. And he ended up reaching the finals against Frederic Collignon. But every one of his matches leading up to that, there was a crowd of 40 people around it watching every one of his matches, just because he's so demonstrative, so vocal, so good on the table, so entertaining. So he consciously understands the importance of the entertainment side of playing foosball. But I'll never forget that. And he, it didn't matter where they were from. And when you go to these ITSF World Championships, there are players from 40 different countries. All of them have seen Tommy Atkinson on video before. They all know who he is. They know what he's about. And it was just awesome. I thought it was just so special to see this guy, this great guy, this great player, this great showman, really doing what he does in front of an international audience in St. Vincent, Italy that year. Obviously, all the other things, a pleasure to hang out with this guy last weekend in Portland. And Mark was actually kind of responsible for some of his success. There was a match that last week where he and his partner fell behind 8-0. They lost the first game 5-0. Lost the second. We're up down 3-0 the second game. And we're just sort of there. It's like watching Mark play foosball. He was sound asleep for the most part. But Mark had a conversation with him, and I think he, in an interview, had talked about how, Tommy, when you're fired up, when you're motivated, when you're energetic, good things happen. And the rest of that weekend, Tommy put on a show for us that was amazing. He was a lot of what made last week's tournament in Portland, Oregon, the Moneyball event, so special. So me too. I've got Tommy Atkinson as my number two Tom on the list as well.
FoosTalk Live proudly presents the top 5. Number 1. Mark your number 1.
All right. So in some of these shows, we talk about the 70s, and I wasn't in the 70s, but I love to Imagineer what happened in the 70s. I love to make it up in my mind and take stories I've heard. And then we get into my era of foosball, like the late 80s and the 90s, and people that I saw play, people that I watched them play. And as much as I didn't compete of my own free will, I did watch a lot of foosball, especially when I was in the booth with Jim. So there's the stuff that I don't know, and there's the stuff that I remember. And it's funny, Noah Rosenstein was doing a project and found a picture of me. He found me in a video, in a picture, and it was me in 1994 watching Tom Spear win open singles. So I started watching Tom Spear in 88, 89 when I started playing. And I watched Tom Spear in my youth, and that was 27 years ago. Now, I get to make these comparisons because I was there. I get to recall and look. I can look at Tony Spreadman's 5-bar, and I can look at Tommy Atkinson's 5-bar. I can look at Tyler Fredo's 5-bar. I can look at Dave Gummis's 5-bar, and I can look at Tom Spear's 5-bar. I can look at the 5-bar defense. I can look at the poise. I can look at the composure, and I can make estimations, and I could make decisions on. And I don't want to I don't think I'm exaggerating too much when in my mind I make these comparisons. And I will tell you that Tom Spear as number 1 here, Tom Spear would be number 1 or number 2 on any list for anything, probably with the exception of natural talent. He probably wouldn't be. He would probably wouldn't be in a top 10 of natural talent. And I'm a huge fan of people that do the most with the least. I'm a huge fan of people that take their skill set or whatever their natural ability is and push the envelope. And I can tell you this: Tom Spear did not have the lateral speed. He did not have the smoking pull shot. He didn't have any of that from the 2-bar. But what he did is he probably was the smartest player to ever play this game. He was probably the most cerebral, attentive, detail-oriented person to play this game. I would put his 5-bar up against anybody for as much defense as offense. And if I had to pick one guy for one pass on a 4-4 to save my life, it would be Tom Spear. I wouldn't pick his pull shot. Maybe I would. I don't know. I'd have to decide between Lafredo and Tom Spear's pull shot, because there are situations when Tom Spear's just going to make that shot. No one else would make that shot. So my number 1, hands down, easy, Tom Spear number 1.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, and he actually has fewer world championships than Tommy Atkinson, but it was still a no-brainer. Just because of the impact he had on the sport. When I first became familiar with Tom Spear, late 1970s on the tournament soccer tour, he dominated in the singles category for almost a full year. And he was this guy that would stand there, no emotion, literally a robot on the table. That all changed as the 80s came along, then the 90s. The hair grew. He became a bit of a rebel, started moving outside society for the most part. And his game changed a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. Still, the as Mark said, not a lot of natural ability, but everything he did was understood. It was precise. He knew why he was doing it. To me, he's the second smartest player I've ever seen. Frederick Collignon being number 1, not a bad thing being number 2 to that guy. But I mean, we all know eventually where the story led with Tom Spear. And I think all of us like to look back and, as Mark said, kind of Imagineer and remember it in a fond way. And the story of Tom Spear from the 70s into the 80s and then through the 90s when he had success. And I saw that picture of you, Mark, 1994 Tornado World Championships, Tom Spear, and one of the most memorable world championships in the history of American table soccer, certainly being lifted onto the shoulders of his fellow Coloradoans. And there's young Mark Torres sitting there in the crowd, looking almost identical to the way he does now, minus 20 pounds of 44 kilograms.
Sure,
but it was still Mark, the man who doesn't age. Dorian Gray, go look it up. But it was Tom Spear, the aura. Just the residue of this man's career remains with us very strongly, and even more so now, based on what we know about his later life and where he is now. And so to me, yes, and Tom Spear would be at the top of many lists for sure. But on this one, when it comes to the top Toms, as contrived as this one might be, still kind of interesting to talk some foosball history and make sure we do talk more about the great Tom Spear.
I can't wait for the top 5 marks. That's what I can't wait for.
Mm-hmm.
There's yeah. Well, and the top 5 gyms too.
Mark Snyder. Mark Snyder with the push shot.
There's a Hall of Famer named Mark.
Mark Rudnicki.
Okay.
Not a Hall of Famer.
You're going to have to work on it. Any honorable mentions tonight, guys?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Obviously, Tommy Orr Jr. is on my, and again, he could be number 1 someday. Who knows? But there was also a guy from the 1970s, the early 1970s. We're talking 73, 74, right in there. A guy who played goalie for Billy Sumption, a great Hall of Famer, one of the great early American players originally out of South Dakota and then Minnesota. But a guy named Tom Hansen, who then actually created Tom Hansen Distributing, which was a big tournament soccer tornado table distributor. And then the other one for me is a national champion, a woman named Tommy Bagley. As well, who has been a real successful player on the professional tour over the years as well. How about you, Mark? You got any honorable mentions?
I just got one before we get on to our great guest who's been waiting. There's a rest in peace. There was a great goalie who used to play with Adrian Zamora and Dana Mara out of Northern California. His name is Tom Pippin.
Yep.
And a great novice player, wonderful guy, and a stud goalie. And he passed away some years ago. So Tom Pippin, I got him as an honorable mention.
I'm sure we've forgotten a few too. They're going to let us know. You know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're going to hear about it for sure. Tom's Rule. There's a Tom Club, by the way. Hope you know.
Oh, and Tom Robinson, of course. I have on my honorable mention as well. So Tom, you're on there. You're a player, and you're going to only keep getting better. And maybe someday, if you team up with Tommy Orr, who knows?
Anyway. The Tom Club. Yeah. Like the concept. So guys, we are so lucky once again, we get a chance to travel beyond our borders because foosball is great in America, but it's huge in other parts of the world, including Europe. It's a giant thing. People do it at work. They do it when they want to go out and just have fun. I mean, it's everywhere. Maybe very similar to the way it might have been here in the 1970s. But at any rate, we're very lucky to have a gentleman who runs one of the most, shall we say, successful clubs in Hamburg, Germany, which is called Week-Kixx. And we'd like to welcome to FoosTalk Live, Rikko Tuitjer. Welcome, Rikko.
Yeah, hello everyone.
Hey, Rikko.
Now you're either up very late or you're getting up very early. Which is it?
getting up very early.
Gotcha. I had a feeling. Now, what awaits you after the show? Do you have work today?
Well, I'm very flexible with the work nowadays. With the pandemic, so I can choose my time to sleep and my time to work. So,
well, very good. And what do you do for a living, by the way?
Well, apart from the gigs, I work as an interpreter for English and Spanish, and I also work for an IT company, Silpion.
Oh, cool.
And,
yeah. Well, welcome to FoosTalk Live. We've been looking forward to talking to you because, first of all, you run one of the biggest foosball, shall we say, training centers, would be fair to say, at Kixx?
Yeah, sort of. In the end, it's a bar. It's probably the bar with the most foosball tables in the world. I mean, you said 16 tables.
16?
Meanwhile, we have 18. We started with 16. Now we have 18 tables, and it's
wow.
Of course we have a bar, but the main theme is foosball, and there's no pool tables, there's no darts, there's nothing else. So the only thing you can do is play foosball, talk about foosball, or watch foosball.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Drink a few beers and get some shots. That
sounds like paradise to me. I mean, that's amazing. And how long has how long has Kixx been in business?
Well, it's now in September. We will have our 10-year anniversary.
Wow, that's fantastic! 10 years. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So the other reason we're talking to you is because you're involved with something referred to as the world record number of players playing foosball in a 24-hour period. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a great program we have there. We had the idea of promoting foosball all over the world. That was about 2 years ago, and we said, how are we going to achieve that? I mean, we can promote football in Germany, and we can do as many events and tournaments as we want, but we have to transfer the feeling to everyone, because we've seen that in every single country all over the world, people are playing football.
Mm-hmm.
Some are playing leagues, some are just playing for fun, some are just playing at home or in companies, and we have to set a sign. The pandemic now is the best time, but that was before the pandemic that the idea grew. And the company I mentioned, I work for, Silpion, the boss is a big foosball fan, and
really?
he started this whole idea, and he said, okay, let's program an app which is really easy to use and everyone can use, and let's not do it the usual ways. Like, you get lots of softwares and apps where you can do tournaments or organize tournaments, doubles, singles, mixed, all sorts of different formats. But we just do it in a DYP form, where you just play DYP so that everyone has fun. The main theme is for people to mix partners, not necessarily to play the ITSF rules, but just fun rules, and just have fun, just have a lovely evening, meet new people, and that's the idea behind that. So we programmed the app, and then we said, how can we start a series? How can we start promoting it? And we said, okay, let's do a world record, and
like that.
Yeah.
So how is it going to work exactly? If you want to be part of this world record, now anybody can participate?
Yeah, anyone all over the world can participate. It's like you just have to download the app and play a tournament with using the app. It's like you need a foosball table, you need 3 other people, and then you can play. And
do you have to film yourself?
Sorry?
Do you have to film yourself while you're playing to prove that you played in that 24-hour period?
No. You don't have to film yourself. It's just using the app will transfer the necessary data so that you have played the tournament and the games.
That's great.
Yeah, I've worked more than 20 tournaments in Germany, and I've worked 2 of them in Hamburg. And unfortunately, I've heard about Kixx. Obviously, everywhere I go, I hear about this great place in Hamburg. I know a lot of the players, Sandra Romp and others from Hamburg. But I've never been. I've never been to Kixx. Maybe I just need an invitation, and I'm happy to come and check it out. But I've heard about the legend of this amazing foosball club there in Hamburg, and also, of course, we're very aware of the World Cup or the world record attempt. I'm not sure what the current world record is, but I'm confident we're going to break it. And it's August 26th through August 27th, a 24-hour period where it's going to kind of move around the world, right, Rikko? Where different regions are going to play. In fact, Inside Foos is going to be covering this and hopefully hosting some of the streams from these different places and kind of focusing in on this 24-hour period when players all around the world, Europe, Asia, all around to the West Coast of America, onto the East Coast, etc. And it's going to be a very, very, very special day. And Silpion, of course, was also a sponsor of the 2017 World Cup in Hamburg, as I recall, as well. So talk about how promoters, how people can get involved with this World Cup event and become part of this world record.
Yeah, anyone just doing a tournament within this 24 hours will participate automatically. And of course, you can become an ambassador. You can just register your location. Either it's a location at your company, at your office, at home, in a bar, wherever. Because right now it's in different countries there are different restrictions concerning the social distancing and etc. So it won't be too easy for everyone, and that's why we had to postpone it to the 26th and 27th to August. It's like initially we wanted to start last year with the European Soccer Championship, and then we had to postpone it for another year until this year. And now currently it doesn't look that good in Germany. It's improving. The situation is improving, but probably next month when the European Championship will start, we won't be able to play with more than two or three people. So and you need at least 4 people. So that's why we postponed it to August, and by August it should be fine. So anyone in August can just do a little tournament at home, in the office, wherever with your friends. Just have, and
let me tell you what I love about this. Let me tell you what I love about this. We're gonna break this record every year. Every year we're gonna do this, and we're gonna break it every single year. And let me add to that. Inside Foos just expanded. Well, we had expanded our reach into Asia, and we just expanded into South America. So we're going to be supporting this effort on 4 continents.
Yeah,
I'm sure you'll take care of Germany just fine, even though we have contacts in Germany and Western Europe. I'm sure you're going to do great. We're going to be able to support this effort on other continents you might not have had the immediate reach. And we're all going to work together, and we're going to break this record every single year. We're going to break, and I hope we can break this record by 3x. Whatever it is this year, we should be able to do 3x next year, and we're just going to own this thing until the whole world is getting involved. I didn't even have a question, man. I just wanted to hear myself talk about it. Oh, God.
Yeah, and the name of the app, just before we get and bury the lead here, but the name of the app is Kickern, which means I guess Let's Foos, right? And so if anybody wants to go out there and get it, I've got it. The locations around the world are on there. You can be, easily a part of it, but that's not the most important question. Most important question I have for you is, does Kixx serve IPAs?
Of course.
I knew you did. I knew it. Excellent.
Well, I'll
be there.
That's a second. Do you have Grey Goose? Do you have Grey Goose vodka?
We get our own IPA after, as soon as we will be able to open again.
Okay,
right.
there you go. Ah, yes.
I got 2 questions. Do you have Grey Goose vodka? Do you have vodka?
Of course they do.
No vodka. Do you have karaoke? Do you have karaoke now? Okay, you're blowing it, dude.
Not yet. It's coming.
I'll bring both.
There's plenty of karaoke bars around the corner, so yeah.
I'll bring vodka and karaoke.
Mark just does karaoke wherever he is. It doesn't matter, It doesn't matter. Mark's going to do karaoke.
He'll bust out his song just any second now. Just wait and see. Yeah. That's our Mark.
For sure. And I mentioned earlier the 2017 World Cup in Hamburg, which was the first time it had been held since 2006. In 2006, we were all down on the river at the Fish Auctions Hall, the very first World Cup ever held, and it was special. It was amazing. It was a mess behind the scenes. It was really difficult, but it was an amazing experience. And then, of course, in 2017, we come to Hamburg again for a World Cup, co-sponsored by Silpion, and I know you were there. But it was, to me, one of the greatest foosball events I'd ever been to. Incredible show, incredible competition, all the best players in the world, and just that main theater where we had the incredible sound system and lighting system, and the players were introduced, and it was just a great show. Talk a little bit about your memories and experience of the 2017 Hamburg World Cup.
Yeah, that was probably one of the highlights of my life. I mean, I spent 2 years of my life just organizing and planning for this event, but not by myself, of course, with plenty of other volunteers and helpers. And it's just a great team we had there. And I mean, we were all amateurs. We had never organized an event as big as that. And it's like you can imagine, we had to confront many problems.
Of course.
In the end, with Silpion, we had a good sponsor, and we had lots of friends, and lots of people put their energy and effort in it, and in the end, it went really well. It was a lot of stress, but it was amazing, and it was like up to date, the only World Cup where we were sold out for 3 days in a row, and we actually you had to get entrance. Like normally a World Cup, you just get in and watch, and you hope for people to come. And in Hamburg, we were sold out for 3 days, and as you mentioned just now, the atmosphere was amazing. I mean, that was just great.
It was incredible. I get chills right now thinking about it. I mean, it was just for someone that does what I do, right? For someone to be able to do it on that stage like that, it's something we dream about, and it was so very special. And you're right, it was paid entry, Mark and Tom, and it was filled every day. It wasn't like in Nantes, at the World Cup there, where Fried Lunas stands out on the street corners, handing out free tickets to the World Cup. But it was an amazing experience, and thank you so much for helping to make that happen, Rikko.
Yeah, no, that was one of the greatest dreams of my life, and we did it, and we definitely want to do it again one day.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. So Rikko, here's the thing we've always been puzzled about when it comes to foosball in general in this country. It's popular, yes, but nowhere near the level of like Germany. What do you attribute to that? Why is it so popular in Germany?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's I can speak for Hamburg, not for Germany in general, but for Hamburg especially. That's where it has been booming for the last 10 years. I mean, we started off in 2006 with just a few, like 30, 40 people or so, with 5 teams in a small league,
right?
And organized tournaments, and that's it. And then we increased from then on, and up to date now we have got around 120 teams with 1,000 players playing in the league in Hamburg, and with the Kicks as well. I mean, it's not just the Kicks. There's plenty of other locations, but we are the biggest location, and we organize tournaments every week. It's like we've got a Wednesday double, which is a professional tournament, which happens every Wednesday from 8 o'clock to sort of at 12, and every week we have around 50 to 60 doubles participating.
That's amazing.
Wow. And we have a non-tournament with fun rules and which is really just for fun, which happens on Fridays, and our record is there on Fridays is 107 doubles.
Wow!
Oh my goodness,
must go all night.
So
that's a lot of teams.
For full, and yeah.
How big is your bar? What do you have, a 7,000 square foot bar? How do you fit all these people?
Around 300 square meters. So it's really big.
Wow.
Most people have to wait outside. They drink their beer outside, and then to play they get inside. Especially in summer, it's like the air conditioning is not the best.
Understood.
That's okay. That's all right.
When do you open again, Rikko? When do you open?
Yeah.
Again?
I don't know. I would say probably in August, September, things should be fine again, and then we can start opening slowly, like with only a certain amount of people. That should be good. Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to that, of course. Tell us what you do. By the way, I know that you have a great program when it comes to bringing in new players. You do some training of beginners. How does that work?
Yeah, but it's not just us. It's like lots of clubs offer practices and trainings for beginners. And yeah, they have all sorts of programs. It's like actually you can play a tournament every day of the week. You can have a practice every day of the week, and yeah, that's how it works. And Hamburg, we made sure that all bars in Hamburg are equipped with good tables. It's like in the 15, 20 years ago, they all had different tables, and they didn't care about the table. So if you go into a bar, you find a table, okay, but the table would not be in a good condition or in a really bad condition. And we made sure that all bars and clubs and that they take care of the tables, and then everything went on from there. So
yeah. I'm guessing you have mostly Leonhard tables in there, but what other table brands do you have in your Kicks?
Well, we had also all ITSF tables, but most are Leonard right now because we need them all the time. It's like if we have big tournaments, we need all the tables, and that's why we have all of one brand. But we also have a Tornado, and we have Galando, we have a Bonzini, and And in Hamburg, there's quite a mixture. I mean, Leonard is probably the most frequent table, but there's quite a few Ulrichs. There's even Tornadoes, a few. And then there's Bonzinis, around. It's quite a mixture. But Leonard is probably the table which you will find most often. It's like.
We've talked in this country on this show, what's happening with as far as COVID and how it has impacted, the table soccer scene here in this country. Obviously, you have not been able to be open. Do you feel that most of the players that you had before COVID are going to come back? Do you think that they have been staying connected to the sport, whether it's through social media, whether it's playing at home on their home tables, or whatever? Do you feel like once things get started again, you're going to be able to still have those kinds of numbers of players involved and begin to move forward and continue to grow the way you were before COVID?
Yeah, I think we had a little setback, but sooner or later it will all come back to what we had before, and even improve. It's like most people. I'm still in contact with most of the players, and even with all the teams. I mean, we had 130 teams in the league, and we had to make sure that we have a plan for after COVID. So how to return to the league, how to start the league again. So we contacted all of them, and most of them, let's say 95%, are still on board and still playing. And although most of them, they can't practice right now, or they couldn't practice for the last year, they will come back, because it's just it's all about the competition, but it's about the socializing and I think foosball, and that's why it's probably so popular, because it's the easiest way to meet people and to get to know people. It's like if you move to Hamburg for a job, for your studies, for whatever, and you don't know anybody, but you go to a place where they play foosball, within minutes you get to know a few people.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks you know 100 people, and that's why it's so popular. And most important thing for us is to make sure there's always an offer for every different type of players. Like there's people, they will never play tournaments. There's people who will always want to play in the league and just meet some friends every 2 weeks and drink a beer and just enjoy themselves, and that's it. And there's also the professional players, so we have to make sure there's pro tournaments, there's no pro tournaments, and we have to intervene to make sure it stays that way, that professional players play professional tournaments and beginners play beginner tournaments.
I love that. We were missing a Kicks bar. We
need one. Can you open one here in Colorado, please?
I wish I could.
What I had to do, Rikko, what I had to do was I had to put in a song and sing a song and try to meet a girl. It would have been so much better if there was a Kicks bar. I could have played foosball instead. I'd have to do all the singing to meet a girl. But
date night with Mark.
I'm not even going to get into that, Mark. I'm going to leave you alone on that one. Go ahead.
But
one of the most important things in a football bar.
Yeah, for sure.
So your weekly tournaments, you have regular weekly, like a Wednesday and a Friday. Do you have a couple of weekly tournaments? And then do you throw like a big regional or state tournament there a couple times a year at the bar? How do you do it?
Yeah, it's like we've got every Wednesday, we've got the pro tournament, the Wednesday doubles, we call it.
Yeah, right.
And then on Fridays, it's always for the we call it no pro tournament, not for non-professionals, with a few fun rules. And then like once a month, on Saturdays, we do a proper tournament, which starts in the morning, which goes the whole day. And that's you can score points for the national ranking. Mm-hmm. That's where most pro players will come from all over Germany. But I mean, even on Wednesdays, we have people coming or driving 200-300 kilometers just to participate for a few hours.
I love that. Yeah. I want to move to Hamburg for a year, man.
Yeah, you should. And there'll be a karaoke at Kicks before you know it. I'm sure.
I'm gonna put on a little mustache and I'm gonna play your beginner tournaments and probably still play very badly and lose.
As we try to get this back on the rails, you talked about professional players. Now, of course, I know Sandra Rampf, one of the great lady players in German history and European history, even came over here and won a Tornado Women's Singles World Championship. One of the great players. Knut Strecker, very experienced player out of Hamburg as well. Who are some of the other really top pro players that compete there in Hamburg?
Yeah, probably Björn Brose, you know him.
Sure, great player. Yeah.
Just won the German championship last year, well, beginning of last year, before COVID, with Björn Krutzky. Although he stopped practicing and playing for a few years, and that was quite a surprise. But it was a big match. He won against Nico Wohlgemuth and Oliver Schlanke. Probably Nico Wohlgemuth, you know him. He had this, of
course,
this single match against Tony on the World Series. Leonard, it was great, And then there's Min Young Bai, although he moved to Korea now for his job, but he will be now later. He's one of the really big players. Of course, myself.
No. Yeah, of course. Sabina Brose as well, Bjorn's wife, who played for the German national team and finished and got a silver medal in 2019 as well. Now, some great players come out of northern Germany.
Milin, of course, you know Milin Tran, one of the best here with Maura Portman, and we've got quite a good quality here. So that's also you always need someone to look up to, and those players, if they participate in the tournaments, they will always be a good advertising.
So your Wednesday Pro tournament, is that a bring your partner or a draw your partner, and does somebody dominate that tournament?
Let's bring your partner.
Okay, who dominated? Somebody regularly win that tournament, and who is it?
Before he moved, it was definitely Min Young. I mean, I think I remember one year, around 6 years ago, I think he won nearly every single Wednesday double.
Wow.
A bit hard, but then things changed. So the competition increased, and there's really lots of good people coming up there. It's like Marius Meyer Hemme, I think. Jim, you know him.
I know him well, yeah.
And Björn Krutzky. Yeah, there's a lot of players coming up. It's like, and every single one of them, even the new players coming up, they all want to go to the States and see what's going on there and play a tournament. It's just hard to play Tornado because we don't have that many tournaments on the table, and you don't practice that much on that. It's harder to adapt on Tornado than it is to adapt on Leonard.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I've heard from many people now that as soon as the pandemic is over, they definitely try and then travel over to the States to go to one of the big tournaments and participate. I mean, even if they know, okay, we don't have a chance, but we want to participate because you've got quite a good reputation over there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the German players have come over and had some success over the years. Even Michael Strauss back in the early 2000s came over and won an expert singles title, and obviously Thomas Haas as well. But one thing I've noticed, though, over the last few years with a lot of the young players, a lot of the German multi-table players, the players who are focused on winning multi-table championships, is they become very good Tornado players as well. Felix Drusup, for one, Thomas Haas, obviously. But there's more. There's a little more. It used to be with European players, they couldn't translate their games from that pin series over to a Tornado. The snake kind of started to come around a little bit more and be used in Europe and in the United States. But I think more and more we are seeing German players in particular who are becoming better and better on the Tornado, on the American style of table, and will have some success over here.
Yeah, they're definitely, especially the young players. You can see they pick up the game much faster than we used to do, or than all of us used to do, and they keep increasing. And it's amazing how flexible they can react on different tables. And you can see it every World Cup, people coming up, and it's not just the players from Germany. It's generally players all over the world. You can see them; they're able to play any table, any style. It's great to see.
It is. It really is.
But really great to see, yeah.
So for Rikko, for you, as a pro, when did you first see your first table? When did you start playing? Were you in your grade school years, or what age were you?
I started playing really late, and the end of the 90s, sort of, and I really picked it up in 2000. So not too long ago, 20 years ago, yeah. And that's when I really started practicing, and I went to a lot of tournaments, spent a lot of money, never won anything. But that was a good time back then, and that kept me to foosball, and it helped me to find sort of my way through life with foosball, and
Was there a moment in your life when you discovered you were addicted? You just couldn't stop playing?
Yeah, the first day I played.
First day, like it. Yeah, very cool.
You can see that, I can see it in all faces of new players coming to the Kicks, for example, and for first time they enter the Kicks and they stand on the table and you show them the first move, the first shot, like a pin shot or rollover or whatever, and the first success they have, and then you can see in their eyes. They will always come back, and that's why I have no fear that even after COVID, things will return to normal and people will come back and play, because it's just the best game ever.
It
Yeah,
is. Go ahead, Jim.
No, you go ahead, Mark.
No, I was going to say that foosball has addictive properties to it. And I think there's certain personalities for sure. I think there's a broad interest when people start playing it. But I think for sure, certain personalities, and we've talked about this on the show before, the attention to detail, to doing a proper pass, and then executing it, and then doing it consistently, and the sound the ball makes when it hits the back of the goal, the little things that you need to become good at, to be good at foosball, are highly addictive. And then the other addictive property to foosball, that it's obviously a universal property, because it doesn't matter if you're German or American. We have the same kind of obsessive attention to the game, but the highs and lows that happen in a single moment. For example, when you're moving the ball around on your 5-bar, there's a certain high in the anticipation of executing a pass. And then the pass goes through, and if you miss the pass, it's a low, but it goes into the goalie area, and now it's high again because you're defending. And then so all these highs and lows happen in the brain, hitting certain serotonin levels that it's like, and it's a shared experience globally. So I just, I get it completely. And I also know the feeling of starting off playing and then not winning anything for a long time. And that's another addictive thing, right? Not in just continuing to try to excel and strive. But are you a pro player? Do you play regularly and compete regularly in your own Wednesday tournament?
Yeah, I do compete, but it's really hard to concentrate on the game if you have to organize the tournament, make sure all the technique works, and But that's like the idea of the Kicks was also to have a place where everything has been set up. It's like for normal tournaments, you have to bring everything. You have to bring your sound system. You have to bring the lights. You have to bring the bar. Even everything has to be set up. And now with the Kicks, we have everything ready. So if we want to start a tournament, we can just switch on the lights and let's go. Because everything will be there. We've got screens.
You're only missing one thing, and Jim and I can do this. Jim and I have been doing doing remote commentary in color. So we're gonna have to try some at Kicks when you open up. Jim and I will do color and play-by-play, and we'll stream it. And it'll be, if we can pull it off, it'll be incredibly entertaining. Because I don't know the names, I'll destroy all the names.
Yeah,
I have no idea about Leonhardt rules.
Yeah,
I don't know. So it'll be. I
got all that covered, buddy. Don't worry.
It'll be a funny disaster, and I'm excited to lead it.
For sure. For me, as an English language commentator, Rikko, as I said, I've probably 25 tournaments I've done on the P4P tour. I've done a couple of world championships on Tech Ball and Leonhardt, World Cups, etc. But I've always been really embraced by the German people, the German players. I've always felt so at home there. Yes, my ancestors, some of them did come from Germany, the Stuttgart area, actually. But, I've always felt like they got it, and of course, most people, you speak better English than Mark Torres does.
Better grammar for sure.
Absolutely. Is it championships or championship? Anyway, but I've always felt embraced, and it is something I think Mark and I can do. Let's circle back a little bit to the Com-Kicker nap, to the world record attempt on August 26th. If I'm a promoter here in the United States, for example, or in Hong Kong, or in Tokyo, or wherever, and I want to be involved with this, I want to make sure that my tournament, my player base gets recognized. What do I need to do? Obviously, I need to go download the app, and in fact, everybody out there listening and watching, please go get the Com-Kicker app. It's KOMM Kickern app. But what do I need to do if I'm an owner or of a bar, or I'm a promoter in a city here in North America or wherever? What do I need to do to be involved with this great event?
Yeah, you can just download the app, and then you can register via the app. You can use the app to register your location, and you can announce this event for all your customers or your clients and or your friends. But you don't have to do that. If you want to be really spontaneous spontaneous. If you want to spontaneously participate, you can just do it. You can just download the app, start the app, and that's it. I mean, it's really easy to go. It's like
you need four people. Rikko?
Need 4 people, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be doubles.
Yeah, me, my wife, my 2 8-year-old daughters are going to have a draw your partner. And I'm going to smash them.
Love it.
You're merciless, Mark. You are merciless.
It's all for the pride.
It will be a great day. I mean, we will start advertising it starting next month. I think really with everyone, and we've got good feedback from many countries already. It's like from Spain, from Russia, from Korea even, and we will have places all in New Zealand, all over the world. People will play, and I think that's a really good statement for all of us. It's like just to see how many people are playing all over the world, and it doesn't matter if you're a pro player or just a fun player at home.
So Rikko,
it's just important to show, okay, we're here, and there's after these hard times, we're still at it.
I love that.
Yeah. What a great sentiment.
And of course, Inside Foos is going to support all of this all along the way. And the plan is for Mark and I don't know if we're going to stay up for the entire 24 hours, but we are going to host streams from around the world. We are going to throw it. Mark with no sleep is really entertaining. And so we're planning on obviously being involved. What a great idea this is. What a great event this is. And of course, coming from what right now is the strongest country in the world when it comes to table soccer, I believe, Germany. And coming from there and continuing to celebrate our sport coming out of COVID, making sure that all of us understand that we're an international family, right? There's 50, 60, 70 different countries around the world playing foosball, but we're all the same. And even when you said about getting addicted to foosball, it's the same everywhere. There's guys in Hong Kong that feel that way, in South America, in Europe, here in the United States. We all can relate to that foosball fever, as we call it. But I think it's a great thing that you're doing, and your team. So everybody go out and get that Kicker app. I've got it. I've got my location, the garage here on 2nd Avenue in 8th Avenue here in Durango, Colorado is on there as well. And if I'm here at home, I will absolutely be celebrating that day internationally with a world record.
Sure. And I'll boast a little bit. InsideFoos.com has subscribers in 22 countries.
Yeah.
So if you have all 22 of those countries covered, then we'll collaborate. But if you don't, we'll pick them up. So whatever countries you're missing, we could rally 4 people in those countries or more. So we're really, really thrilled to participate in this. We're 1,000% behind it.
Yeah, so exciting.
All of our resources and reach and all of our people are going to be behind making sure that we have a big number for the first time out. But every year, it's going to be fun to break this record. Break it every single year.
No doubt.
Yeah. Thanks. That was so great. I mean,
So shall we make a gentleman's
and I got to get to Kicks, man. I got to get to Kicks. Next time I'm in Germany, I'm hopping the rail. I'm taking the train. I'm coming to Hamburg again. I love Hamburg. And I'm coming to Kicks, and I'm sure by then you'll have an IPA, and one's on me for you if you like IPA.
My wife and I have already talked about coming to Germany, waiting for the foosball tournaments to start. We've talked about this, and so you think you're going to be up and running in August, right? You think you're going to be up and running? Yeah. Well, we're gonna plan our trip around when Kicks is open. So I guess when Kicks is open, I mean, might as well, right? So we're gonna be thrilled to get out there. I'm gonna play in your Wednesday tournament, and
looking forward to that. It's like we're rebuilding the place actually right now, so we're installing lots of new highlights. I think you'll be flashed.
All right.
Awesome.
Great.
So Rikko, let's make plans now. Let's have you on the week before the world record is.
Anybody hearing Tom?
Are you hearing me at all? Are you here? Can you guys hear me? Hello.
He's muted. Rikko, Silpion is the company you work for. We know they're a great supporter of foosball. The CEO of the company is a great supporter of foosball, and this is his brainchild that he's branched out. Are they playing a lot of inter-company foosball at Silpion?
Yeah, they're organizing another world record as well, just playing foosball. I mean, they for I don't know for how many years now. I think for at least, is it 10 years? No, for 8 years I think now. Every January they organize one of the biggest company foosball tournaments ever, and so it's every year they beat the world record again. It's like last time there were 2,555 participants, I think.
Wow.
Like it's just for companies. with your company, you can just come as a team with at least, I think you need to be at least 4 people. You can be up to 10 maximum, and then it's just fun. It's just a fun tournament whole night with lots of companies, and that's why the CEO of Scipion also said, okay, this is one thing where you can just connect to other companies and other professions as well, and especially in the IT part, foosball is the best way. I mean, even if you want to. If you're looking for new employees, if you're hiring people, in order to break the ice, you can just play around a foosball and you're there.
Yeah, and if they have a really good near side pin shot, you hire them on the spot, right, to be part of the company team.
In the United States, you have to pick up golf, and you have to go golfing with these guys, and you got to walk around and carry your bag. That's to hell with that. It should be foosball. The whole time I'm going to move to Hamburg and try to make inroads climbing the corporate ladder with my foosball skills.
I love that, Mark. A change of life for you. I love that. Rikko, what a pleasure it has been tonight to spend some time this morning with you. And muchas gracias and dankeschön. I know you're multilingual, but thank you a lot. And of course, the more information moving forward, August 26th, 27th, of a world record attempt. Come kicker nap. Let's foos and let's do it on that day, and let's continue to do it once we get out of this COVID era and really embrace what we believe is the future of foosball better than it's ever been before. So thank you so much for joining us on FoosTalk Live tonight.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rikko. If you can hear me.
There he is.
I'm
Tom
back.
Robinson.
I'm back.
He's back.
No, Rikko, we certainly would like to hear more about this the week before the big world record attempt and the week after.
Sure.
So
looking forward we should have you or Jan back on here for sure, both of you, right before that takes place. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, just we'll get the latest updates. And of course, I'm speculating, I'm going to use this as a gentleman's bet here. I'm speculating that the first world record is going to be 30,000. That's
it's going to be what?
30,
how many?
30,000.
30,000.
That's what I think it's going to be. But
all right, I'm writing that down.
I'm putting that out there.
Down.
It is
over-under.
The over-under, right? 30,000, or maybe more. Who knows?
Amazing.
I love it. Tom Robinson is such a positive individual. I love it. He really is. I love that. I love that about him. What a great interview. What a great time to spend with a man who is so ingrained in German table soccer and in Hamburg in particular, and has such an international perspective as well. And this is something we'd love to do more often on FoosTalk Live. The problem is we have to ask these guests to stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning.
It's a tough ask.
Which isn't always the case, and we sure appreciate Rikko doing that.
Yes.
Although from what we hear, he's kind of a night guy anyway.
Well, the show is sending you a case of Red Bull as we speak, so we appreciate it.
It's imaginary Red Bull. It's not in the budget,
right? But hey, it's a gesture nonetheless. But no, Rikko, we thank you so much for being with us and putting up with our technical issues tonight. Sometimes the gremlins get in the machine. So, but thank you for your patience.
They do. So, all right. Hey, good stuff. Really good stuff. And I don't know if Jason Wicks is with us tonight. Jason kind of filling in for Clay Toomey as a producer. But of course, Jason, one of the promoters of the upcoming Texas State Championships, one of the great events in foosball. And I suppose we could talk a little bit about that before we go. It's our plan, of course. We're going to be there. We're going to be covering it. Like we've never covered a tournament before. Tom Robinson's going to be there. FoosTalk Live is going to be live from the Texas State Championships. Mark Torres, first ever. No, you've been to the Texas State Championships. I played with you at the Texas State Championships.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Okay.
It was horrible.
I was great.
I got there on Friday, and we played we went out in 2 or out. We won a match maybe. We went out in 3, and it was
one of the worst experiences of our lives for sure.
That was after I won a pro doubles tournament, though. It was like the next tournament after. So it
was within 5 years or so of it. Yeah.
I wonder if this is going to predict what's going to happen in our grudge match there at Texas State. I'm just wondering. Okay, that's good information. Thanks, appreciate that.
I already told you what's going to happen.
Yeah, Clay Toomey's a badass. He is. Clay Toomey's a really good player. So you're in good hands there, and you're a great goalie. I don't know that Mark and I have a chance.
We'll see. But now you're just teasing me. Now you're just appeasing me. But no, that's cool. We'll see. The truth will tell the tale, and it's going to be on the pit table, and everybody's going to see anyway. So there you have it.
Yeah, people are going to walk. People are going to see what's going on. and then turn around and walk out of the room.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a few. I've got a few final thoughts tonight. A couple of them that have occurred to me. Obviously, the great interview with Rikko Tuitjer and all the great things he's doing, but also, you know, Mark and I. And I'm still feeling it. I don't know about you, Mark, but I'm still feeling last weekend. You know, 4 days, 4 long days, 4 exciting days. Really, really a lot of fun, but a lot of work. But it was really, really a pleasure to get back out and work a tournament, do live commentary, live play-by-play. Not just talking to my camera or watching video, you know, because I've commentated a couple of matches, recorded matches, but to get out there and do it live, and maybe we've lost a little bit of a step, but certainly by the end of the weekend, we got it back. But it really bodes well for where we're headed. I think, you know, what Mark and I did as a team, commentary, it's only going to get better. I felt like this was some of the best coverage we've ever done last weekend. A lot of that was due to Mark's abilities as an interviewer, his abilities as a color man, all the cooperation of the great players that were there, from Tony Sprederman to Robert Morris to Tommy Atkinson, Brandon Moreland, etc. But I'm still kind of buzzing off of that, and tired off of that.
Sure.
And really looking forward to really taking it to even a higher level coming up here at Texas State, when we're going to have a full crew, great event, wonderful hotel, getting to do FoosTalk Live all together. How about that? Is that weird?
Yeah, this is
all in the same place. And so I just, these are the feelings I'm left with. Great interview tonight with Rikko, and just it's great to know that we are finally putting one foot in front of the other, baby steps as we get back to normal, super normal.
Well,
moving forward.
Think about this, Jim. A year ago, right about this time of the year, we were just getting this thing, FoosTalk Live, together and kind of stumbling through the steps and getting that together. We're still around, and you know, it's going stronger than ever. And of course, you know, in just a couple of months now that, you know, COVID is going to be finally in our rearview mirror, yeah, things are going to pop.
Let me interject a little bit on what Jim was saying. So I work in highly stressful environments with time-sensitive inpatient care, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes, enough so that it would terrify you from going into an operating room.
Right.
So I'm very familiar with that environment. And it was amazing to see that translated into what Jim does. So I've worked color with Jim many times 15, 16 years ago. I've never been as participatory as I was this time. Seeing him and trying to stay out of the way while he puts it together. He didn't have his best equipment. He didn't have his best stuff. He had flown there, as opposed to when he brings all his best equipment. We had a hotel with internet bandwidth that you'd expect from the 1970s. And
non-existent.
in spite of all the technical difficulties. And we had a Skycam that couldn't work because the internet kept dropping. It dropped 5 or 6 times a day on the on David, who was doing the software.
Wow.
So we had everything going against us. We had, and it was amazing to see that translated, operating room stress to what was going on. And in spite of all that, we still had probably the best coverage we've ever had, because we worked together as a team for 3 days and we figured it all out on the fly.
Right.
It only speaks well that every single tournament, the coverage is going to get better and better. Not only that, we're investing in technology to improve all the detail, so the minutia gets tightened up, our skill set and our exposure and working together gets tightened up. I'm there as a professional in the booth for 3-4 days at a time. The whole thing just gets better and better every tournament. And the Texas State Championship will be the recipient of our piloting stuff at Portland and bring it over to Texas, and every tournament, so on and so forth. It's a great product. Now, I'll tell you this: we've had 2 cancellations of subscribers, and they both resubscribed. So we have 100% retention.
Cool.
And everybody knows we're building something amazing for foosball. Our product's going to be brilliant, and I'm very, very happy with what we did for a first time out.
So what do you?
Yeah, and in the spirit of Rikko here tonight in German table soccer, it's something we hope to continue and execute internationally as well. Besides just here in this country.
So what do you guys predict in, let's say, in a year from now, all things considered? What do you think the level of participation in foosball is going to be like, especially with Inside Foos?
I don't know. I don't want to exaggerate that. I think I think in Germany, it's amazing on its own. I think we could only help what's already happening.
Sure.
And I think we're Inside Foos. Inside Foos is a wonderful place to be, is we're in the Inside Foos plays in the center, where we want to help everybody. If you're good people with good ideas, it only helps us if you're successful. It only helps us if you're successful. So we're in media and entertainment, and our thing is to bring entertainment and visibility to anybody's idea. This is what Week-Kixx and Silpion are doing is a natural fit. Let us use our resources and our embedded market space and our market capture to push your idea visibility into places you couldn't reach on your own. And everybody, foosball is served. Ultimately, foosball is served.
Right.
One thing that seems to be true no matter what country you're in is where people get an incredible obsession and passion to compete in foosball. There is a tough time delivering it to spectatorship and visibility, and that's where we are servants to foosball. We are servants to this idea of making it increasing visibility. And when you add the human drama and you add the color and the play-by-play and you add the entertainment piece, that only helps make foosball more interesting to watch, and it creates it profiles and humanizes the players. It doesn't matter what language you speak. Foosball can be fun and entertaining to watch.
That's so true. It's our job to promote the promoters, as someone said. We're in this business to create entertainment and take this and get it out to people maybe who aren't necessarily players even.
Oh, sure.
As far as the players go, there is going to be some attrition from this last 14, 15, 16 months. There are going to be some players who don't come back. That's just a reality. But on the other hand, things are happening with Foosball Clubs USA, with the international youth movement with foosball. We're finding ways to promote it better and treat each of these young players as a valuable commodity. Make sure that they don't get turned off early. They don't play against too good a competition too early. We're also creating in this country, it's a model we're following after Germany and France and Belgium and other places, the club system, where we're creating clubs which bring in players from the bottom, teach them to play the right way. There's positive things that have come out of this COVID era. Yes, we're going to lose some players. Yes, there are some players who have gone and for whatever reason moved off in different directions in their lives, whatever, don't have tables at home, haven't stayed connected on social media, that are going to go away. But we believe, based on what we're doing, with the way we're packaging the sport itself and the abilities that we have to do so, with the cooperation of these youth organizations, with the club system that's coming, with the continued motivations of players and promoters around the world during this time to come out of this strong, hit the ground running, right? I think that the future looks really bright. And to your question, Tom, to kind of round back to it, is I anticipate the increase in player participation is going to be somewhat significant and growing more significant as the years go by, because I believe in this process that we have started here. People like Rikko Tuitjer as well, and what he's doing with Week-Kixx and his group, with players and promoters in different countries who are newly motivated to come out of this and have learned from this time how to adjust, how to adapt, how to really focus in on the things that are necessary to really create the sport in the vision that we all have kind of thought it could happen. And so as we come back to it, I see great things ahead.
Yeah, and one of the things in retrospect with Rikko's comments, I love the fact that he kept referring to there are certain nights of the week at Kixx where they just have fun. I love that. Yeah, and that's how you get people addicted. They show up. It's not a serious thing. You walk in, you have some fun, you meet new people.
Although if you're Rikko and they're putting quarters into your 18 machines and buying beer, I'm sure it's a lot of fun, right?
Of course.
I'd be having a lot of fun too. If I have 18 tables where people are putting coins in them and buying beer.
It's about generating fun.
Give me that job.
It's generating fun for the clients, for the customers, for the players.
All right, so upcoming Texas State Championships, what are we, like 2.5 weeks out? Holy cow, it's coming quick. We're going to get to see you guys in person. That's great. Hey, the Beachtown Beatdown 2 weeks after that down in South Florida. That's going to be a party. If you can't be there, and it's capped, so if you show up, you can't play, but you can still hang out, get a couple of really cool specialty drinks, watch some great foosball, and if you're not there, you're going to watch it live at InsideFoos.com.
Just to hang out on the beach and watch foosball. That sounds like paradise to me.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Guys, it's been another great show. I think we've had some fun tonight once again, and our sincere thanks to Rikko from Hamburg and Kixx, and of course the Week-Kixx, the big World Cup, Week-Kixx, yes. When it comes to the world record, we're looking forward to that. So what a great night, and guys, welcome back to the studio, by the way, after being out.
Right. Yeah, great.
Thanks, guys.
Glad you guys survived. We'll be back again next week on FoosTalk Live.
FoosTalk Live is a product of Inside Foos, all rights reserved. Brought to you in part by InsideFoos.com, 518 Prince, Foosballers the movie, Foosball Clubs USA, and the USTSO. Tune in again next week for another episode of FoosTalk Live. In the meantime,
we'll see you foozin'.